Welcome to what is just currently the Hammy show. We will be the Ham and Hammy show in a few minutes, but our lovely Ham got locked out of her apartment, so she will join us soon. What a fun way to start the week. How's everybody doing? I think currently we only have my parents watching, so how are you? This is the best way to start a show off. Happy whatever day of the week this is, Tuesday. I don't know what day of the week it is unless Derby is happening, and the show is how I know that it's a Tuesday. So this red light from my microphone is giving me a red chin, so that's a fun new additive here. So yeah, welcome to what is oh no, we have a bunch of viewers now. What's up? People in the chat, what movies have you been watching lately? One of the things, let me know. I've been watching lots of movies the last few weeks. There's been a lot of conversation on the Derby Twitter sphere this week, where people are saying their unpopular opinions. You're more than invited to let me know some of your unpopular opinions in the chat. Shout out to Frogmouth on Derby Twitter. But I actually really liked some changes where it was tell us things that you love about Derby, especially as we're looking into roller derby coming back. Slowly but surely. It's been back in New Zealand. I hope to shout out the New Zealand streamers who did a really awesome job streaming what was a very cool tournament this past weekend. So if you missed that, I would definitely go back and try to watch a live derby happening in 2021, which is such a lovely, fabulous feeling. And my whole video just went away. So that's super cool. There we go. I guess I pressed a button. So technology is killing it. Come on, video. There we go. Oh, and now that's cool. 1 second, y'all. I think there we go. I was like, I think that'll go away. We love technology, running a show by ourselves. Yeah, so I'd love to hear, things you're excited about now that Derby is slowly starting to come back, but also any of your unpopular Derby opinions. We had our Haterade episode where many of us talked about things that we hated about roller derby, specifically the 27.5, I feel like, which was a pretty common thing that we all hated. I definitely am on the haterade train for 27.5, but in terms of things that we're excited about and love about Derby, I think obviously community is such a big part, which is why it's so nice to have all of you who watch this show and support us and get to play around with me trying to host a show by myself, which is an interesting and new thing, but it was always just us hanging out tonight anyway on this fine Tuesday. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Know that it's not just my parents anymore, so don't be shy. Give us some Derby opinions. I know Derby Twitter is an interesting space to be on, and being head of marketing for a large league. Hi, Banger! See, this is what we need. We need some Banger. Tell us some of your popular or unpopular Derby opinions. Tell us what you love. What are you looking forward to? I know you've been doing some of the park skating. But yeah, there's so much going on, and we're looking forward to some in-person skating soon. There was going to be a little in-person skating thing on Sunday, but then it rained. So we hate the rain. I think that's a popular opinion. I actually love the rain. More park skating, better weather, and no scooter kids. I don't know. When I went park skating, the scooter kids were like really polite. They were so nice. But those are very good thoughts. The better weather, doing great. The better weather thing is a huge, I'm definitely looking forward to the May showers once we get through the April showers, right? As April showers bring me flowers. I'm excited to start doing some outdoor stuff, like running in the park, which is a thing that I say I'm going to do a lot of and never actually do. I always have big goals to skate in the park that I never quite to skate or run in the park that I never quite do. Although I did do, I don't know why this is happening. Hello, I did not press stop video button. I think I might be shaking my table too much today, which is super fun in terms of technology. I was like, I'm getting really good at this, and then just there it goes. There it goes. Thank you. My hair is a bone of contention, but I will take every compliment that you get. It feels like every time I do the show, I'm making my hair bigger and bigger to try to make it like more Joan Jett and more mullet and less like peppermint patty, which it kind of, if it's down with the bangs, is, I'm growing it out. I'm having a little trouble with this thing, the like flippy in the backy thing. I don't know what to do with right now, but it's growing out. It'll look cute in like a month. George does look good. Look at my man. George is my lamp that has a flower in him now. In case you didn't know, George is a tattoo I also have on my arm. Now it's just the Hammy shares things on the chat show, which is fun. So Sophie Tattoos, who is an ex-derby skater, if there's such a thing as an ex-derby skater, oh yes, great news, did that tattoo for me. And now we're going to have a Ham join so that it's not just me. I do have a tattoo of my lamp. This lamp was owned by my grandmother, and there are pictures of me as a child dancing with said lamp. I mean, if you can, it's hard to tell here, but like this lamp is big. He's a big French night lamp. And so I got a tattoo of him to commemorate the fact that I love this lamp, and it makes me think of my grandma. And also he's the weirdest, coolest. I love that my mother in the chat is like, yay, Ham. Like, it's not just Hammy talking to herself anymore. Hi, Ham. So you got into your apartment. Oh, hold on one second. The sound, let me fix some sound settings here. Killing the game. Just doing a really bang up job.
Am I?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Before we continue, I must shout out my derby spouse, without whom I am nothing. So Snark Tank to the rescue, brought me my keys, and is the best.
Nothing like
the
being,
absolute best.
Nothing like being locked out with your dog.
With my dog, who was kind of like, after we were done with the walk, was kind of looking at me like, okay, and now? So yeah, I I didn't have to wait that long. Like Snark got there pretty quickly. But Snark is an amazing individual. And while I was waiting, all I could think was like, I love them so much, not just because they brought me their keys, but they're just an incredible person. And it's a person that I wouldn't have met had I not done derby. So yeah, it's
I was bringing up the derby Twitter conversation from this week, which was like your
unpopular opinions,
but also someone else did the like your popular opinions about derby or like good opinions, and I was saying community for me is the popular derby opinion, so that feels like it matches pretty good.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'll tell Snark all of this later, or anyone who knows them, you can tell them later. But like when I came to New York, I was miserable. I didn't have any friends. I did not know how to make friends, just because in the past I'd been in situations where there were a bunch of people all experiencing something new. So you just kind of found your friends through who you worked with, and that was when I was overseas. But when I got here, I was like, I don't know anybody. I don't know how to make friends. And I met Snark at basic training. And they have just brought so much love and light into my life. So.
Yay. I'm on Team Snark, so that's great. I also think that like the idea of making friends as an adult is something that I often hear is hard to do, but because I've had roller derby for most of my adult life, I mean, I was 22 when I started. I've never really had that because I always had this like group of people, and they're people I never would have met.
Right. I know. I would say making friends as an adult is really, really difficult. It's something that, I don't know, they need to take kids aside, and be like, now looky here. Now, when you leave this place, you're not all going to be like thrown together. So this is what you do. I mean, I made one good friend through meetup.com. I went to a knitting and crocheting group that met up in bars. So, and from there, I became really good friends with one of the knitters, and then she invited me to her dirty book club, and I started going to dirty book club.
Wait, I want to go to Dirty Book Club.
It's fantastic.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so smutty book club, and then and even though she's left New York, we're still very good friends. But yeah, Derby is, yeah, it's absolutely, it's instant friends, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think I'm very lucky because yeah, it makes, as Banger's saying in the chat, it makes moving to a new city bearable and instant friends because adult friending is hard. I was very lucky because, yeah, I moved to New York and I tried out for the roller derby team in New York. I don't know why this is happening a bunch today, but my video has decided to just like turn itself off. I'm trying to play with my cables here and see what's going on.
Well, I had OBS like shut down on me.
It does
Repeatedly.
that. Sometimes it just does
Yeah.
that. You know, technology is one of those things, like, it's not a perfect. I've gotten very zen about technology as I'm getting comfortable
Yeah.
producing, where it's like sometimes it's just not going to. Can primarily fix anything pretty quickly, and like things are going to go wrong, and then you just press a few buttons. Like the sound didn't work. I knew exactly what had happened, and I fixed. The more I do it, the more like relaxed I get about it. Like tech is just what tech is, right?
That is the best thing, that when everything goes wrong and you know how to fix it, it's the best feeling. Like it feels so
Or
good.
when you know that there's nothing that you can do because it's the internet and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't fix that. So
Yeah.
that was when I
Yeah.
used to have a stressful job in LA, and like they'd be like, okay, we need you to drive cross town in this amount of time. And you're like, I can't control that.
We're like, this is, yeah, no.
And
I've
like,
heard
it's
horror
the
stories
only
about LA.
time I was zen, was like, oh, you need me to drive across town. I will go as fast as I am physically capable of going. And
Yeah.
I would just relax. And it was like, aside from running around the costume warehouse, because I worked in like as a costume PA, it was like the most relaxed I could get because like,
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like,
I
you can't
don't
chase traffic.
I don't have a flying car. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that like that zen when you know like things are gonna go wrong, that comes to you. I feel that way sometimes when I'm playing roller derby. When I mean, you know, like things get a little crazy out there and you're like, what is happening? And then you just have these intense moments of clarity where you can just see everything happening and you just know where to go, or you know where you need to be, and it feels so right. And then someone hits you and everything goes everything goes awry again. But those magical moments where it feels so right. And you can identify what needs to be happening.
I
It's
feel
good.
like the last time I had one of those practices, I got a concussion like halfway through and had to sit out for the rest of
no.
it. But like I was having one of those practices where like everything felt amazing and I knew what I was doing. And then I got like a crazy hit
Yeah.
and I got a minor concussion. And I was like, well, at least my memory of this practice is that for half of this practice, I knew how to play roller derby.
That's right. Like everything was so right.
I don't
But
often
have you,
feel
I mean,
like I know what I'm doing. And I know I do because I talk a lot when I skate, but I tend to be the one who's
Right.
like, go there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very nervous about going back.
Same. Same. I'm delighted. I've discovered a new couple of places to skate near my house. There's a
Ooh.
tiny little skate park near my house. I mean, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to, I'm not going to try any tricks or anything like that. I don't have great insurance, but I am going to skate to skate around.
Practice
There's like a
stopping.
nice surface around the perimeter. So I'm just going to rely on that and have a good time. But yeah, there's plenty of places to skate. So I really want to up my game with street skating currently, just because I'm not a park skater. It's not my thing.
And I
But
really don't like
yeah.
skating like the park. Like the park being like around Prospect Park is a thing I did a lot last year in the summer when we weren't skating. Is like I was meeting up with like skaters and doing like the roundabout, and I don't like doing that. It doesn't feel enough like roller derby for me. It just feels like cardio. And
Yeah.
like I don't love cardio.
I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it because you're not a cyclist, and cyclists in the park are mean and scary. And
Yes.
then I'm not like going, like I'm not
There's
walking, but I'm
there's
going
nowhere
really
for you
fast
to
for
go.
that.
Yeah. Like the cyclists don't like you, the
Yeah,
walkers
there's
don't
no real
like you.
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like to be in the way. So it's very stressful.
I get really mad when people get mad because you're like, I am in the place where I am supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, they get really, really upset, and it's like, all right, you, like,
I am
please stop
following
yelling at me,
the
like,
law of the land and I'm trying to be as polite as humanly possible, but like you've gotta let me live a little.
yeah,
But yeah, so
absolutely.
I mean I am looking forward to the good weather as it comes in and getting to do some outside stuff. But I'll try not to only drink outside as my outside activities.
I mean, drinking outside is pretty amazing.
I do enjoy
It's
like a good outdoor patio at a bar.
it's nice. I mean, I'm saying it again. When I lived in Ukraine, that that is something that people like to do.
If you
As
have
soon
your
as the
bingo
weather gets
card up,
nice,
there you go.
I know, right? If yeah, Ham mentioning another place that she lived, but yeah. So as soon as the weather's nice, people head outside.
Yeah.
It's
But I feel
great.
like
It's a good habit.
that's normal here too though. Like
I guess I didn't ever notice. I'm an indoor cat. Like I like to be inside. Um, we got a drinking game when I mention a new place. You got to
yeah,
drink.
you have to take a drink whenever Ham says, "Well, when I lived in."
Yeah. All right. I love it. Yeah, I was not really in like an outside kind of person, and then when I lived in Beijing,
Whoop, and the drink happens.
when I lived in Beijing, I really came to appreciate being outside because of the pollution. And so, there were days on end where there was once a stretch where they canceled school because the pollution was so bad. So I got into the habit of when the air quality index was really low and there were blue sky days, I made myself go outside.
Wow.
So now I'm definitely oh, it's beautiful outside, I'm going to go for a walk. And I was never like that before.
I never really thought of that, but I mean, I had that too in a certain way growing up. Not necessarily growing up, but by college, because I went to high school and college a little bit away from where I'm from. And my drinking game is mentioning Arts High School. So
All right, let's do it.
or being from
I
LA.
like it. That's right.
But we had fire days, right? So like we have such bad brush fires that they'd sometimes cancel college because the air was so bad that you had to wear a mask. Like a lot of people in LA had the N95s already and certain masks because like when I used to work on like film sets. And we would work and like wear masks outside in college because the air quality was so poor in like the valley areas. I mean, I was in college once and I could see a wildfire from like my porch.
Oh, wow.
And everyone's like, "Are we gonna evacuate school?" And I was like, "No, it's still far enough away." But like you can still physically see it. You can just see it out there. Or you would drive down the freeway and it would just like be alongside the freeway and you'd be like, "Yeah, LA."
That happens here.
We didn't get snow days, but we got fire days. So like I can totally understand that like feeling of needing to be outside when that's available. And then here having a winter where like it was cold and we're not allowed to do indoor stuff. So like
Yeah.
being able to do out like safely distanced outside stuff is like everything now.
Yeah. Like I've taken to just going outside and taking a walk around the block. That's it. Just around the block and back.
I'm trying
Just
hard
because.
to take like lunch walks now because I work too much. Like I'll work too much and not leave my house otherwise.
Yeah, you work hard. What's that like?
It you work hard. It's just a different kind of work. Having like a bakery business versus having like a job at the computer are two very different like kinds of work that are both very hard but very different. Yes, having a dog would help, but I didn't get a dog because I was never home because of my job and I got a cat instead. And now I'm like, well, shit.
You could have had a dog.
Could have had a dog. I mean, I have Lily, who's amazing.
I mean,
but
I take my I have a small dog. She's a mini Dachshund, and
Chance
I
the
don't know when-
napper.
that's right, Chance the Napper. She is, speaking of which, she is sleeping right next to me. But if I take her out too many times, she gets really upset. She's like, I don't know, like why you brought me down here. Like I don't want to be here. Like,
Please stop
take
taking me for walks.
Yeah, she's like she's a very relaxed dog.
My
So
mother thinks I should take Lily for walks, and I think that Lily would not do that.
I've been monitoring, like someone I'm following on social media who's been tracking their leash training for their cat, and harness training, and it's been very fascinating. Like
Take George for walks. George is so
yes,
heavy. Like
a little red wagon.
a little red wagon. Do you like so I always say this is like the most Brooklyn like bullshit. Like this should have been in an episode of Girls or like Broad City was me moving like George into the apartment. Like my Clinton Hill, like I was in Clinton Hill. I like went and I had a Jeep at the time and I like drove to Philly to pick it up from my grandmother's like storage area. And then like me and my friend Devin, who we lived together at the time, she and I are like trying to carry this very like heavy, very big French night lamp that is 6 feet tall with his like with the shade on it into the apartment and like the brownstone, and everyone is just laughing at us as we're trying to like maneuver him in. It felt like a bad show about like 20 something girls in Brooklyn. George on Wheels would be very Brooklyn.
It would do it.
It wouldn't even be the weirdest thing that you see day to
Certainly
day.
not.
Like a giant silver. He's made out of plaster is why he's so heavy. Like he's not metal at all. He's just like a giant hunk of plaster.
He is a hunk, all right.
He's a hunk. I mean, his real name is Bois Gilbert, and he's like a real dude apparently. The squirrel, it's not feeding the squirrels is Bobby Narco is recommending in the chat because it's not good exercise, but it's nice to be outside and it's good for the soul.
It is. Squirrels are the best.
In my college, the squirrels are known for being very friendly, which I think is a thing on college campuses generally.
Oh yeah,
And they like
we
steal
like to
food
feed
out
the
of your
squirrels.
hands.
And then they get bold.
Yeah, they get real
when
bold.
I went to school in Pittsburgh, and my school was adjacent to Squirrel Hill, and that was the first time I realized that like this whole neighborhood. I never realized that there were squirrels that weren't gray. So that was my first time seeing black squirrels and red squirrels. I was
We're
mesmerized.
famous in Northridge for white squirrels.
Oh man, I've never seen a white squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going on my bucket list.
Yeah, you can go to Northridge, California, where they shot Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better, if you're a sad college student, than like walking around just looking at squirrels. It's very relaxing. It is really good for you.
But like also what are you listening to? Because I feel like all the music I listen to is like soundtrack music. So I feel like you like walk through the campus with your earphones on, like listening to your like really emotional music and having big feels. It's also like what happens when you're 16 and you get a car for the first time.
I was old, so there really was no like portable music option. Like I would have had to have walked around with the Discman like this. Like not moving my hand like at all, or the disc would skip.
They had Walkmans. They had like the little
yeah, that was like super fancy.
They had portable I had a portable tape player as a kid.
I didn't. I never had one of them. No, maybe like my big brother did. And then by the time I was in college, they were kind of like no one really used them, but I also couldn't afford a Discman. So yeah, it was just the soundtrack of the streets. Just like gentle Pittsburgh traffic and birds.
I definitely
That
had
was my soundtrack.
I had an iPod. Oh, iPod Nano or some shit that they don't make, but I'm a baby and I full well know that that is a privilege that I had an iPod. Oh my gosh, I'm loving the squirrel conversation that's happening.
I love it. Squirrels in places. Do tell.
Yeah, wow. The squirrels use rough nut that used to throw nutshells at Brody. We did have growing up have squirrels that used to throw shells at the dog. Brody was our dog, and they would chew the shells and just shuck them at the dog, and they would be rude. And then also the cats in the neighborhood would like stand on the fence and like tease the dogs.
Oh, that is a children's book that needs to be written.
They would like stand on the fence and the dogs would try to get them and they just disappear.
And terrorize your dog. I love it.
A Teddy Ruxpin. That's a good plan. My brother had a Teddy Ruxpin.
Those things now looking back, like they were terrifying, but I kind of want one. I wonder if you can find one on eBay.
You definitely can. I had they're basically a Build-A-Bear if you think about it.
They are.
Although I got a
I
Build-A-Bear
think
when I
that
was like, I was far too old to get a build. They didn't really exist when I was a kid, but I was like in high school and we went for like a friend's little whatever. And
they
like,
still they either still make them or there's a new one because
oh
it's
shit,
new.
there's a
There's
new
one
Teddy
on
Ruxpin.
Amazon. Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted. I was so
No,
excited.
that's really important news. Everyone, you can get a Teddy Ruxpin. Or you could just get a Build-A-Bear and have your mother record it saying, I love you, have a good night. And then that night have the voice box go out so that it goes, I love you. Because that's what happened to me. I like, it was almost like a Furby, like the devil Furbies, where like they talked when
Oh my
like you'd
gosh.
close the. This is such a great roller derby conversation, everyone. But like I have to tell you that
It
I'm
is.
obsessed with this weird internet trend called like long Furbies. Have you heard of
My
this?
students made one of those. Yes.
They're
They were like,
genius.
Miss Ham, look what I made. And I was like, I really like you, but not right now.
It's so clever though. They take for people who don't know what a long Furby is, and I follow like TikToks about this. I follow Instagrams. They take the like insides of a Furby and they'll like build out skeletons for them so that they're very long.
Oh no.
Why? I don't know. But it's a thing that people do, and I'm fascinated by it. The amount
I
of work
think
and artistry.
our adrenaline could make an amazing long Furby. Probably with
Arden,
skates
please
too.
make us a long Furby. Can we have it as a mascot for one of the teams?
I feel like that is something there should be like a Gotham themed long Furby for auction.
Yeah,
I think
or our
that,
new merch.
or you should just that should be new merch. We can also
Merch.
just randomly email other leagues and be like, we challenge you to a long Furby contest.
Yeah,
Like,
who would like
let's
to
see
make
what you got.
the weirdest long Furby? I feel like
Yeah.
every league has at least one craft person who would get way too into it.
Oh yeah, there'd be one person who's like, I forged mine from steel. We'd get some really amazing
So
long Furbies.
mayhem. You know what? It probably would be mayhem that would get really into the long. We are the ones who made the paper mache cat head, and by we
Those are
I mean
impressive.
literally. Yes, Daddy, we talked about that. That you can get a
I
new
know, I know what you're getting for Hanukkah.
Teddy Ruxpin or a long Furby.
Both. There's 8 nights. So
I do have a Gonzo above my bed, which is great for any kind of dating.
yeah, absolutely.
Someone made a piano out of many Furbies. Oh, this is a great chat.
My.
This is my second favorite internet trend. You're on delay. Oh, I see. My second favorite trend is my first favorite TikTok trend right now. We're taking those little like, I can't remember. They're like frontier critters. They're like little like animals, and like this British person makes full like soap operas with them on TikTok.
Ooh, I like it.
I will send you some videos. I will tweet some out for people who follow me on Twitter today at Gort Hearts Me. Not Court Hearts Me, Gort Hearts Me, which is a sci-fi joke. You're welcome for the 3 people that get it. It's not that clever.
It's very clever.
Because
How old were
Gort
you when you
Klaatu
came up
Barada
with the name?
Niktu. Wow, it spelled that right for a second.
Just for a second.
It got the Klaatu
The
right.
the captions are really good though. They're fantastic.
I'd say they're like, it depends on us, because I think that like
That's true.
I get tired and I get a little sloppy with my speech, and I can always tell when I'm not enunciating right
Yeah.
because the captions tell me when I'm.
Same.
Because I get
I
tired
think my
and
speech teacher would be like, "See, that's
I
what
get
you
tired and lispy. Mm.
Oh man.
The captions are fun, and they lead us to our panda hat, which is the only way I refer to the pandemic now. Yeah. So as you know, this is just a chatting. This episode of the Ham and Hammy Show. Every once in a while, it's just going to be Ham and I hanging out, because part of roller
It
derby
is.
was that, and
with the homies in the chat. It's
the
best
homies in the chat. Caption
It
said,
said, "Snot my dirty wife." I mean, we're a little dirty too, but like also my dirty wife, my lovely derby wife.
"Derby."
spouse.
Yeah, it does say
Yes.
"dirty wife" when you.
I like it. You know what? Snark's gonna love it.
Yeah,
So-
Snark would really like "dirty wife" as opposed to "derby wife."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love it. So, did you watch any roller derby this weekend from New Zealand?
I did. It was so good. I really enjoyed some of the setup too. Like getting to see how, some of the behind the scenes of how they set it all up because that's going to
It
be us
was
someday.
fantastic. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm also still like I was thinking about it today, like sevens, Derby
I
sevens
love Derby
is
Sevens. I was so excited to see a
I
sevens tournament.
felt tired watching it. I every time those jammers went out, I mean, everyone on the team. I was just like, I guess I just I'm in awe of the conditioning that it takes, the stamina, and just really to play like that, to be really tired with no long pauses, but to be able to keep your head in the game and play like that. It was I was really impressed, and it was kind of like, all right, well, that's a goal. I would like to be able. I would like to play sevens one day. I think that would be super cool. Um,
I mean, I think that a lot of derby should be looking at sevens as like shorter because they're the shorter games too. Like as a way to do round
mhm.
robins tournaments, especially like World Cup should be really heavily looking at sevens. But that's my thought. It's just a different rule set for those who don't know what we're talking about, in which there are seven players. Snark is a dirty wife.
Putting
Oh,
it out
that
there.
was you.
You know, I want to enter. I want to put it in the official record.
Yeah, I and as chat like Chad in the chat is saying, I think sevens is the first tourneys we'll have, and I absolutely agree with that. I've actually
Mhm.
never played a sevens game, but I've always been curious.
Yeah. Nor have I, but
I almost played a sevens maid game,
what's that?
made the maid rule set. Yeah,
So
it's
what
just
is
seven player rosters and shorter games, I think is the only difference, if I remember
There's
correctly, but
no
Chad
official
corrected.
reviews.
There's no official reviews so that they're quicker.
Um,
I think
and
that's it.
well, let's look it up right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I almost played a maid rule set game, which is just a different rule set than Wolfda, WFTDA. But I didn't end up doing it. Like at the last minute, it was too hard for me to get where the game was. But also, maid is not. It's four fouls. Well, that makes sense if
Four.
it's half
Okay.
hour games. It would be four fouls
Yeah.
and then no
See,
timeouts.
the chat delivers. The
Our
chat
chat
always
rocks.
delivers. It really does. Okay, no timeouts. Yeah, no timeouts.
No timeouts. Just skate for a half hour straight, basically.
Yeah. And
MAID?
also
You mean what does
bash into your
MAID
friends.
acronym stand for? I actually have no idea. So I'm going to look that up now because
Look it up. It's the best thing ever.
thank God for the
Um,
internet. You know, you think about it sometimes, like in 1918 when they went through this.
I've tried to tell my students what it was like when I was a kid to want to know something and to look in the Encyclopedia Britannicas, and they just didn't care. They would like he was like, "You guys, it's amazing. You have a computer in your pocket." They're just like, "I no one cares, old woman. Stop talking."
Oh, thank you. Modern athletic derby endeavor. The chat, man, is just the best. But like
Yeah, tell us.
MAID is a lot faster. Yeah, Bluebeard killing it. So like it's way closer to bank track rules, but like flat, so it's so much faster. And it's easier rules, quote unquote.
Easier.
Like the rules are less extreme, which is easier, let's say, as a viewer to follow, but like
Okay.
less, in my opinion, obviously, like maybe a little less safe. Like a lot of the rules we have at the WFTDA, like in Derby for WFTA, were things that we started to do. Yeah, breakaway pivots. Were things that
Breakaway
we.
pivots. What's that? Do tell.
Oh, it's so complicated. I think, if I remember correctly, or not, is the whole point. The rules are only 4 pages long.
Okay. That would have been nice. I remember when I was preparing for my rules test, and just carrying around my rule book with me and my rule book flashcards and like studying and studying for the test. Good times.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if the opposing jammer passes them, the pivot may break from the pack to become their team's active jammer. So there's not like a star to pass.
Uh,
Yeah, the pivot can just decide to become the jammer and run off.
oh, I'd be so confused.
It sounds confusing the more that I think about it, but also like great. Like I think that that's one of the cool things about Derby that we often forget about, knowing that we skate for the WFTDA and like we're so specifically like a rule set, but there are like multiple rule sets of roller derby,
Right.
because there
That's
is
true. Star passes are confusing.
like there's Maid, there's Renegade, there's the USARs.
Yeah.
So there's
It's
four, like, there's more than four, but like when I was deciding which kind of derby to play, like I was looking at four different rule sets of roller derby before I decided to do what I think is the more standardized roller derby, which is the WFTDA, the more well known,
right.
or Bing Track, which is its own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea of the pivot just being able to, a star pass without a star pass. I'm like, this would like really stretch the limits of my my track awareness skills. I'm still in the that panicking, like the panicking phase of my derby play, where I don't know what's happening. I'm just kind of freaking out, and then like I said, those bursts of clarity. But in between that, it's just like I'm like a Viking berserker who just doesn't know what's happening.
To be fair, I feel like you always get to a place where you feel like you know what you're doing, and then you move up to a like another level, and then you are
Yes.
back at not like I finally got to the point like on Diamond where I was like, I know how to play roller derby, I know where to be, I know who to talk to, I know what to do.
Right.
And then I made it onto Mayhem, and I was like, I literally have no idea how roller derby works, and I don't know what to do or where to be at any point.
Like, what's this game again? What?
I'm
Why are we
sorry,
here?
who am I blocking and how do I do that?
Which side of this wrist guard goes up?
And
Like,
the way that they're like, go there, do that. Why are you doing like the amount of stuff you start having to pay attention to is just different, which,
yeah,
yeah, it's just so much faster. So, like, you feel like you're doing it quick where you're like, I got this, I figured it out. And then you get up to another level and you're like, oh, I need to do this 15 times faster than my brain is doing this.
right.
Or my body is doing this, which is its own thing, right?
Yeah. So we always have time to grow.
Bobby Narco, can you steal lead? Like, the lead jammer is the one who's actually in the lead. I don't know. Let's look at this 4 pages of
Oh, wow. Stealing lead. That sounds intriguing.
I don't know. I'm on the Made Rules website, but it feels like it's really old.
Why? Does it have like flashing things and dancing babies?
Kind of, but it's from 2015, so I'm just a bad person. Here I'm like, I did something at work and they like gave us some deliverable and I was like, oh, this looks like it's from 2012. There's
So, yeah, it looks like because of the rules that we have right now, does anyone remember what I'm talking about? Like the dancing babies on the internet, like with the little hand, like from Ally McBeal, from like, I am aging myself.
everybody
Drastically.
remembers the dancing baby from Ally McBeal.
Yeah, and it was on, and they were on, like people would put it on the website, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, that little thing's so cute." Yeah,
The
that's.
dancing baby got replaced with minion memes.
Oh man,
Just like moms on the internet, not my mom, sorry mom, is the is like that's like the new thing where it's like some like weird quote attached to like a minion from Despicable Me. It's just like all over the internet now and you're like, "Oh no."
well, now I'm gonna build myself like a nice retro.
Oh, we were just bragging about you roller derby streaming New Zealand.
Hey,
We were talking about sevens
sevens
tourneys.
and how we're all gonna have to learn because it's what the cool kids are doing.
Sevens is the state like Maine will be eligible to play derby before a lot of states because there's not enough full teams to start playing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's honestly what's coming.
sevens would have helped my league in Beijing out. I mean, it was hard to get people to come in. So I think that if we had had sevens across with the other leagues that we were playing with, like in Korea and Japan, it would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was conversation prior to, if I remember correctly, prior to Panda Hat, where where we were taught like where Derby Twitter was having big sevens conversations mostly when talking about World Cup and like how we would like how they should be looking at that. But I also think there'd be issues with the sevens for something like a World Cup because wouldn't we want to include as many skaters as possible?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard sevens, up my mind went to rugby sevens, because I had a lot of friends who would go to like the Hong Kong sevens tournament, which was huge and involved a lot of costumes. So it really looked like my jam. But
I
yeah,
do
like
like a good amount of costumes.
yes, yeah, like theme, like group costumes, the works. So yeah, I'm imagining like a Derby sevens tournament. Is amazing. And so yeah, so watching it and seeing the crowd, it was naked jealousy. I was just jealous watching like the crowd be there together and just watching the NSOs do their things. But everyone playing derby. It was. I got a little emotional. I had to turn it off. I was so jealous, and then I was like, all right, but now I want to watch the roller derby. So yeah, it was. I'm so glad it's streaming.
Yeah, thank you so much for streaming that.
Yeah, and to get that alert being like it's live right now, like on your phone, it's like, all right, well, I know what I'm doing for the rest of the afternoon. So
Getting to watch live derby because we do wrongly keep saying things like like roller derby is coming back soon, but it is back for
it's back.
others, just not us.
Yeah, it's back, and and we need to support it.
It's there if we're looking. Anytime. Well, we do appreciate it. And it was so good. I mean, like, not only are we getting derby, but we're getting really high level derby, and that's really fun. Doubleheader this weekend. See, there's a ton of derby happening.
Okay, yeah. Let us know what time. Drop it in the chat.
Drop us, you can always plug live derby in the chat, and we do a lot of derby rewatches here on Gotham, the Gotham Twitch for Gotham After Dark, but a lot of them are not current rule sets, but they're really fun. Lots of old games. You can see how different.
The last game was Bronx versus Queens. Was the last game?
That was the last like big conversation game like rewatch, but they did a lot. They do. Wow, Greta. Greta like just randomly will replay like old games from like the early derby days of this iteration of the sport, and it's very fun to watch how different it is now.
Anytime I see footage where the teams are wearing dresses and there's knee starts, I'm like, this is going to be good.
Manhattan Mayhem wore dresses until like not that long ago, and I mean Philly wore dresses until like 2 seasons ago.
Wow.
Wow. Like Denver still wears whip belts. Maybe they stopped. I think they stopped. Or Colorado. Somebody in Colorado was still wearing whip belts until recently.
Wow.
Which now when you see a whip, I remember when whipping was like part of minimum skills. Like we would sit there and practice.
That was minimum skills?
I mean, it was like part of like practicing skating.
Your
like,
evaluation, yeah.
Yeah, taking and giving whips was like part of your evaluation.
Wow. Okay.
And like there's like arm whips and hip whips.
Right.
And now like whipping is just
that once in a while that leg whip.
I don't know if I've ever seen a leg whip in person.
I've seen footage. It's like seeing Bigfoot. Like I saw someone do
a leg whip. That's because there's so much danger for like a
everyone involved,
but like a penalty. I mean, we can't all be
absolutely.
go-go and climb underneath someone's legs during a tournament.
Yeah,
that was a moment in history. I always love when there's like they do something, like somebody does something for the first time and then there's a rule about it like right after that's added.
Yeah,
like I found a weird rule that I can take advantage of.
It is. It's like the lawyers of roller derby. You're sitting around being like, well, they didn't say we couldn't do this.
That's why Gotham was so good for so long, is like they would spend so much time, and like they being us, but way before my time. But like they would spend so much time like really looking at the rules and figuring out not necessarily loopholes, but like ways to use those rules to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Hence the jam that never was.
Yeah. I mean that It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I definitely, I do think we should, look back to those things and maybe bring some things back. I would like to see more themed bouts.
Yes, I
I
agree.
watched a couple of weeks ago, there was a Pirates versus Vikings bout that I watched from New Zealand. It was fantastic.
Yes, I
I
love a
think it was
themed bout, but I just want an excuse to wear a costume.
right. Yeah. Like I'm all about the theatrics. I never really got to put together a proper bout fit. So, I mean, I think more a bout fit is now for like if I ever become a manager or something like that. I will definitely have some bout fits.
My bout fits were always for the after party
Okay.
because,
Nice.
like, obviously, if I'm skating, I will wear I'll probably do some funky makeup because who
Yeah,
doesn't like a funky makeup? But I will probably
absolutely.
wear Mayhem specifically, like as a team, which is the orange cat themed home team for those who are not Gotham affiliated, which is the team I skate for. Is we're a bit of the party team, and we definitely like are a bit of the fashion team. And we love an excuse to dress up. So like, and we also love an after party and closing down an after party. So like, I will say that like my after party game stepped up a lot last season. Like we spend a lot of time getting ready after the game to go out and look cool and weird or like as orange. Having bright orange as your color means that you have to really commit.
You do. I think that's important.
And you get to wear
I
cat
think it's
ears.
the same. I mean, I'm in Diamond District, and I've been shopping for a grill. I want a grill, like a diamond grill mouth guard.
Amazing.
I've found some brands. I'm, comparison shopping, but I also just want like a after party grill.
I
I
was
want a
on
grill.
Diamond District for a long time. I got my diamonds.
You got your diamonds,
I
yeah.
got
So
my
I'm
diamond
like, I'm like,
tattoos.
what sparkly things can I acquire?
I had so many sequins when I was on Diamond District. I also just use derby things as an excuse to dress up and be outrageous.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of
It's
clothing that like isn't there. Aren't you glad you're from that team? Boo to the chat. Boo to the Chad.
so good. That's so bad. I
I
love it.
am
I
orange. You
love
glad
it.
I am glad I'm on that team. Even
Right? So glad. If I knew how to use these little, emotes and things, I would just do a little fish pen right now for you. A salute to you. Wait, oh, can I?
I haven't figured out fish pen how to get the fish pen, but I do have salt that I'm putting in the
I'm
chat.
I'm like, what is? I'm
Maybe.
like, what? Oh, I did it.
Oh, I did. I put too many chats. How did you figure out the fish pen and
I
I
did
didn't?
it. So I went to now we're getting into old lady Auntie Ham trying to use the internet. I just like clicked on that little face thing,
Oh,
and
it's
then
the
I saw
face. Look at us. Gotham Roller Derby. We don't
I
see a
like
fish
I
in Gotham Roller Derby though.
this is definitely a preview to people of like what it takes, like how I tweet by committee, how long it takes me to send out one tweet or one
You're
post, one
teaching
Instagram
me.
post. I'm learning a lot. I'm just not. I'm a late adapter. Oh, you got a cool cat. We call that one the Carol Baskin.
The Carol
The cool,
Baskin
the cool cat and kitten.
killed her husband, whacked him. Sorry, I was on TikTok way too much at the beginning of the pandy. So I have all the TikTok trends memorized.
Oh
2021. Oh,
my
yeah, you have a
gosh,
very
I
good.
love it.
Well, here's Gritty. Gritty
Yeah,
gets their own.
we got like a taxi for representing. Is that a taxi for the Bronx?
Yeah, and there's a ham
That's
and ham, but I don't know how to find the ham and hammy one. Somebody's got to set because
maybe
we have
it's
our
like an
own.
achievement that has to be unlocked.
Yeah, the nerdier to hammy. I
I'm
love that
definitely
so much.
on the verge of. I think for a lot of these things that I've learned how to do, like learning how to kind of use Twitch, how to use OBS. I just go to YouTube and watch videos.
If I tell you how many YouTube videos,
Well, it's what I tell my students. I'm like, my former students, because I don't teach anymore. I was like, everything you need to know is on YouTube. And then I tell them about the time I bought a pencil sharpener and I couldn't figure out how to put batteries in it. And I found a video on YouTube and it totally worked. So,
oh, so only Chad gets the ham and hammy one. I love that.
okay.
That's good.
Okay.
That's important. You get to be our biggest fan, which I'm into.
I love it.
But
I
yeah,
love it.
I've been learning a lot on the YouTubes on how to use Canva. we're redoing all of the branding for the co-op, the pop culture co-op, which you'll start seeing tomorrow. If you follow those accounts, you'll start to see some of those assets rolled out across the co-op starting tomorrow. And we had a great graphic designer who helped us, but also like all the other assets and stuff I built in Canva while watching.
And they're beautiful.
So many videos on YouTube. How to build your Twitch account, how to build your Twitch backgrounds, how to make Twitch panels. Like I made badges so you can all have like the little fun emotes for that too. So yeah, I spent time ass hats instead of assets. I'm always worried with S's because I really did have a lisp growing up.
That's amazing. All right. So we got Bobby Narco in the chat doing some international time zone math so that we maybe have a game, some live derby to watch at 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon. So
Eastern?
Yeah, I think you should just follow roller derby streaming so that way you get the alert on your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow that roller derby streaming link. It's 7 p.m. Friday, so we're doing a terrible.
At 7, we don't do the math.
We do not do the math. We don't do the math. We'll let like Bobby and Smacky duke it out in the chat for what time.
I'm only guessing. Yeah, so follow the account. If y'all follow the account, you'll get an alert when the streaming goes live, which is great. I think that if you're busy doing something else, you can drop it and watch roller derby. Or if you're like, on a bad day, you can be like, oh, I gotta go. It's an emergency. Do it.
You don't need a real excuse to leave a bad date, though.
No, you don't.
Just saying.
That's true. I know. I haven't gone on a date in so long, so it doesn't matter.
You can just say that you're not, like, you could just be like, cool, this was fun, bye, and be done.
And be like, you know what I would rather do? Watch roller derby. Bye.
I mean, I'm very polite, and I will come up with an excuse to leave a bad date, but you don't have to.
You don't have to.
I mean, I went on that date where that man told me that I was nice for a capitalist. He was a dumpster diver who lived in like a Bushwick, like a loft in Bushwick with a bunch of other dudes, and he was a writer, but he just wrote a blog, which, okay, fine. So I was nice for a capitalist because he didn't want to pay for his $1 pint.
Yeah, it's too bad he didn't stick around because I could have given them the hookup on some good bagels.
Well, that's what he did. So he would go to all the places after out, like when they all came out. Like he had a burner phone, and they I learned all of this on one date because I didn't go on a second date with him. Shocker. Because I'm really nice for a capitalist. I have nothing against being like a dumpster diver. Like, you live your life, but like if you can imagine the texts that I got the next day saying I was nice for a capitalist, you can imagine the conversation we had.
That's just really weird.
It was weird. He believed in shoplifting because of the disparity between the have and have-nots, which fair. And then I was like, oh, but big stores, not like mom and pop, like bodegas and stuff. And he was like, no, anyone who has stuff I want. I was like,
oh, wow. I mean, there's a bagel store near me that I think their trash day is Thursday, and they put on some nice bagels.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's super fair because they're well packaged when they're put in the trash.
Oh, they're perfectly wrapped. Yeah,
they do it on purpose because they know people will take them.
Yeah,
and they should take them. Why waste food?
Shout out to them. Yeah. So those are some good bagels.
Yeah, that guy told me that I was nice for a capitalist, and when he wanted to go to see a art film after our date, and I said no, I'm good. I did say that I had a roller derby game the next day. I did have a roller derby game the next day. I wasn't lying, but I could have gone to a movie.
That's just such an interesting thing to tell someone something.
Was he going? Yeah, so that was my question is how are we going to get into the movie? Are we just sneaking in? Are we going to pay for the art film? I'm not sneaking into an art film in Bushwick, New York. Sorry.
Oh, man.
It was this was a long time. This was early dating in New York too, though. This was one of the first.
I can't wait to use that line on my husband. You're really
nice for a capitalist. I'm because I believe in paying for services from small business. I am really nice for a capitalist. What can I say?
I'm sorry. I'm so tickled.
I
That's
repost the
amazing.
screenshot of the chat at least once a year. Every time it comes up in my memories, I repost it because it just
Like, never forget this day.
I was
Never
so
forget.
tickled. Like it's almost as bad as Soup Guy, who did get 2 dates. Where I was like, "What are you passionate about?" And he said soup, and I was like, "Making soup?" And he's like, "Nope." So he was
Eating
just
it,
really
bathing in it. Like,
he
what?
just is really passionate about eating soup. Like passionate enough for it to be the thing you're saying is your passion while on a date.
Passionate about soup. Okay. All right.
We went on 2 dates.
Two. I mean,
I mean, he wasn't going to murder me, so I figured he could get a second date.
that is the low bar.
Dating in
He
New York
wasn't
is the lowest of bars.
he wasn't going to murder me. So, yeah,
Bathing in soup.
yeah.
I mean, if it's
That's
made
what
out of good enough materials.
if it's bone broth, maybe he wants that collagen on his skin.
True, true. Thanks,
I
Mom.
just,
Thanks, Mom, for.
I just,
Yeah, that
you know,
collagen. Maybe he just wants that. Like, I don't know. It was so bizarre. I was like, what are you passionate about? Because, like, listen, I'm super aware. Join me in a bowl of soup. Oh, our chat is so good. Like, I'm
good.
aware that that's like a big, shitty question to ask someone on a date now. But,
Yeah,
like,
it sounds like a job interview question. Like,
what are
what are
you
you passionate
passionate
about?
about? Like, I
I'm like,
understand. But I was talking about roller derby and like how I talk about roller derby is like this thing. So I was like, okay, enough about roller derby, which I'm obsessed with. What are
right.
you obsessed with? And he said
Yeah.
soup.
Yeah, I think if I ever end up on a job interview and they're like, "What are you passionate about?" I'll be like, "Getting paid." Okay, I am passionate about a paycheck. Like,
There's
I
nothing.
just feel it's very,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's one of those questions where I don't know. Like, if someone's passionate about something and like you're on a date, like it's gonna come through. But it's one of those questions, like on a job, it's like we're going to pretend that we care about you as a person, but we don't really. I think.
I think that's the thing. Like, it's not a bad question, Smacky. Like, it's actually an excellent question. It's more about how it's asked, where it's like, yeah, it's not like I'm like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What are you doing? Like, what do it's like those
Yeah.
like very I'm having a really hard time finding the word now. It's like a very like small talk question.
It's a small talk question, and for the right person, it really opens the door for someone to jump into something deeper. But for someone who,
Is passionate about soup.
yeah, like, but they already would. I feel like if he were truly passionate about soup, he already would have told you about like the best soup he had ever had. Like if you were having dinner, he would have been like, this soup is pretty good, but you know what? I once had this bouillabaisse that was amazing. Like
Exactly.
he would have started talking about soup.
And I
So
asked the
yeah,
question because I was going on and on about roller derby because that is a thing that I am passionate about. So it's
right.
kind of like, well, it's more of like I'm talking too much on this
Now you
date.
talk.
Now
Yeah.
you talk. Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. Nerd derby, I'm putting soup and will not murder on your profile. Honestly, you might get some hits. I don't know what they do in Maine.
I will not murder you. I have testimonials.
I have testimonials. There are many people who know me that I have not murdered.
Do it, do it, do
Hi,
it, do
Bolshy.
it.
Bolshy joined. A little
Hey.
must know signs of a stroke. See, look at the great story I got. Honestly, the only reason I still date is for the stories at this point. I need to put my book together. It's all for honestly, every experience that I do for this show to make all of you laugh in the chat. Oh, it's true though.
God, that's fantastic. I
Well,
can't believe an hour's already passed.
we knew this
Like,
would happen. Every once in a while, the show is just going to be Ham and I having a good time together.
yeah, it goes from Ham being locked out of her house, sitting there with her dog, sad and pathetic,
Me having to
to
start the show
this.
alone, being like, "Hi, how do I do this by myself?"
Like, I
Thank you,
guess
Banger,
gonna
for
tap.
jumping into the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you all so much. This is like my favorite time of my favorite time of the week. So much fun for me, and very important. So, community derby is all about community, and this has been a great community.
Yeah, we love you. We appreciate you being here every week with us. And also, it just helps us because we miss you. And it's like a way for us to see each other, which is always a big plus, but also see you. Love Fest. Love Fest Tuesday night. And you love soup. Yeah.
I do. I made some delicious oxtail soup like a couple of weeks ago. It was
Oh, you
amazing.
have to invite me over next time we make oxtail soup. I love
I
oxtail.
will. I am. I mean, as my grandmother would say, I really put my foot in it. It was so good.
Ooh. And now we're vaccinated, so.
Fig soup, I'm on it.
No, fig soup. I was like,
Custard
I said we're
cream.
vaccinated, and you said fig soup.
Oh no, yeah. Also, you vaccinated. I got the J&J, so
Oh, you got the one and done.
yeah, the one and done, no side effects. So it was fantastic.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I usually
got Pfizer.
don't have reactions.
I got Pfizer, and the first shot I was sick, like had fevers for 3 days. But the second shot I was all right, just a little tired.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
my parents had nothing. So get your
Yeah.
if you're over 16 in New York City, you're eligible for the vaccine. And if you're having trouble finding a vaccine, only 6 people got blood clots from the J&J. There's more people who get blood clots from any birth control. Darn it. Feelings.
I know, right? Yeah.
But if you're having
it's
trouble
just like
finding
6
a place
people.
to get your vaccine and you're in New York, definitely follow TurboVax.
I keep turning this cup up. There's nothing in it.
No, you're like glug glug
I'm
with
like-
your fake drink.
It was a good G&T.
Yeah. Oh, J&J. Derby got J&J last Thursday. I love hearing people getting their vaccines. But yeah, if you're in New York and you're having trouble, definitely follow on Twitter or on their website, the TurboVax, VAX.
They shut it down.
Did they?
Or is it back? It was shut down because the New York sites were not like they were fighting off bots.
Oh, because it was working
so
like
I
2 or
don't-
3 days ago.
Oh, so then maybe it's back.
Okay, because I looked at it. I got a few of my coworkers. I sent them the link, and they all got vaccination appointments from the link from following TurboVax. So I think it's back. But yeah, everyone, please be safe and take care of yourself and get vaccinated.
Yes, it's
and
back. You're right. It's back.
It's back. Go to TurboVax if you're having trouble getting appointments. It's how I got mine because it's open for 16 plus in New York City. And honestly, like I know everyone's laughing about everyone pointing. Like posting the pictures of their vaccine cards, which you shouldn't do because that's a lot of information to be putting on the internet. But I really love hearing everybody who's getting their vaccinations and being safe and taking care of themselves. It makes me really happy.
That's right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, until next week.
It's been a pleasure. It's definitely better than COVID. The side effects for a few days is way better than COVID is my thought. We really love you all and miss you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.